Your physical and emotional well-being is off. You know what you need to do, or that you know that you need help. And maybe you've known that for a while, right? To dial in your sleep, eat better, move more, deal with the things that have been eating at you, and yet you're not doing it. And worse, maybe the real answer is you need real support, not another podcast or another Google rabbit hole at 2 a.m., but someone to help you figure this thing out, and you still haven't reached out. You're still sitting with it alone. And if that's you, I don't want you to feel bad about it, because it's not about laziness. I don't think this is about not caring enough. I think there's actually something much deeper going on, and that's what we're going to get into exploring today. I'm Daniel. I spent 10 years struggling with debilitating insomnia. I spent over 180 grand trying to fix it. Sleep clinics, specialty docs, medication, supplements, the list goes on. But here's the honest truth. There were things I knew I needed to look at most. Emotionally, psychologically, and those were what I kept avoiding. And there were moments where I knew I needed to get a different kind of support, and I didn't get it. Not for a long time. It postponed me though in finding my rest, my health, being happy, having my life back. I wasn't lazy, I wasn't stupid, I was stuck. And looking back, I can now see exactly why. And I see the same patterns play out constantly with the people I work with. So today I want to name them, because I think just in hearing and understanding that, it can help unlock something for you. I should be able to figure this out myself. This one's huge, especially in our culture and especially with men. There's this deeply ingrained belief that if you're struggling with your health, your sleep, your mental state, you should be able to sort it out on your own. That needing help is somehow a failure. That you should just research harder, try harder, be more disciplined. And on the surface, it sounds reasonable, but think about what that actually costs you. For me, it cost years of spinning my wheels, trying to solve something alone that genuinely required support to heal. And I see this constantly. Smart, capable, high-functioning people who have been white-knuckling it for years because asking for help just doesn't seem like an option. Where did that belief even come from? Probably something early on. A family that didn't talk about struggle, a culture that celebrates self-sufficiency above everything else. And now it's running quietly in the background, blocking you from the very thing that could actually help. Fear of hope costs us our healing. And this can be a bit more subtle, but it's one of the most common things I see with people's avoidance of getting help for themselves. When you've tried things before and they haven't worked, hope starts to feel dangerous, because hope means that you might get disappointed again. And being disappointed again after you've really let yourself believe this time would be different, that hurts a lot. And so the mind finds a clever solution. It just stops hoping. It keeps skeptical, a little detached, and maybe even a little cynical. Yeah, this probably won't work either. And that way you stay protected. But the problem is that protection comes at a cost, because if you never fully commit and you always keep one foot out the door, you never really give anything a real shot. And I want you to hear this. That fear of hope is not a weakness. It's your nervous system trying to keep you safe, but it might be the thing standing in the way between you and actually getting better. Our identity can cost us our health. After struggling with something long enough, like poor sleep, it stops being a problem you have and starts becoming who you are. I'm just a bad sleeper. I'm an anxious person. I've always been like this. This is just how my body is. And once something becomes a part of your identity, changing it can feel threatening. Because if you fix it, who are you then? If you have built your whole life around managing this thing, what happens when it's not there? And that might sound a little abstract, probably confronting, but I see it play out all the time, because unconsciously we resist change because on some level the problem feels like it's holding something together for us. And maybe it gives you an excuse. Maybe it's become a way of connecting with others. Maybe it's just familiar, and familiar feels safe even when it's painful. I'm not saying this to call anyone out. I'm saying it because awareness, naming it, is the first step to moving through it. A lot of people carrying around real shame due to the fact that they're struggling. And they look around at everyone else who seems to be doing fine, and they think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? And that shame keeps them quiet. It keeps them from telling the people close to them what's really going on. And it definitely keeps them from asking for help. The painful irony here is that the people carrying most shame are usually the ones who need and deserve support. The high achievers, the caregivers, the people who are great at taking care of everyone else and absolutely terrible at accepting care for themselves. Shame thrives in the dark, in silence, in isolation, but it dissolves in honesty and connection. That's not just something that sounds nice, it's physiologically true. Your nervous system actually regulates through co-regulation with other people. Being witnessed in your struggle literally helps you heal. This one hits different depending on who you are, but it's everywhere. Not feeling worthy of health and happiness. Spending money or time or energy on yourself, it can feel indulgent, selfish, like you need to justify it, like you need to be suffering badly enough to deserve it. And here's what I notice. People will spend thousands on home renovation, vacations, on things for their kids, on things for work, without much hesitation. But investing in their own health, their own well-being, their own healing, suddenly it requires a whole internal committee meeting. And what does that tell you about how much value you're placing in yourself? You are the foundation of your life. Your health, your sleep, your nervous system, everything runs through it. And if it's not worth investing in, I don't know what is. And not only that, but you not investing in yourself and taking care of you means not being at your fullest and healthiest, which means not being at your best for all those around you. And that applies to today and especially in the future. Waiting to hit rock bottom before you decide to change. It's not bad enough yet. I'll deal with it when things get worse. Other people have it harder than me. There's this idea that you need to earn the right to get help. That you need to hit some kind of threshold of suffering before it's justified. And a lot of people spend years, genuinely years, waiting for that point. Meanwhile, the things quietly get worse, getting entrenched, taking more from them. We avoid, we make excuses, we normalize our challenges until the pain is so great that it could cost us everything. You don't have to wait until everything falls apart. You're allowed to get support before it gets to that point. In fact, that's the whole idea. I want to be real with you for a second about what not taking action around your health and especially your sleep actually costs. And it's not just uncomfortable nights or low energy days. That can be plenty. But over time, it's your relationships because you can't show fully when you're depleted. It's your joy because it's really hard to enjoy life when your body and mind are struggling. It's years, literally years of your life spent managing something rather than being able to fully live. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because every week I see how someone has been trudging through life for months or years to then finally getting support. And every time they kick themselves for not having done this sooner. The cost of waiting is real and it compounds. So here's what I want to leave you with. Getting help, whether that's reaching out to a coach, joining a community, talking to someone, or just finally being honest with the people around you, it's not weakness. It's actually one of the hardest things, the most courageous things we can do, especially if you spent years convincing yourself you should be handling this alone. And from what I've seen, both in my own journey and working with people I coach, something shifts the moment you start not doing this alone. The nervous system starts to settle, hope starts to feel possible again, and things that felt completely stuck start to move. You are not designed to do this by yourself. None of us are. So wherever you're at, whether you've been sitting on the fence about getting support or you know there's something you need to address but keep pushing it off, I want to ask you just one question. What would it mean for your life a year from now if you actually took that step today? And if any of this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these things hit closest to home. And if you're ready to actually talk about what's going on with your sleep, your health, there's a link below where you can apply to book a call with me directly. So thank you for being here. Take care of yourself. You deserve it more than you know.